Everybody loves to watch a movie about bank robbers, but in all reality, banks are the ones robbing you.
Stop wasting money on that dumb shit and instead put it in investment. I know it's tempting. You'll spend it and be broke again.
Welcome back to another video, guys. I'm your bro Taylor.
And I'm your bro Ryan.
So the reality is banks are businesses and businesses make money. Now, unfortunately, it's oftentimes at your personal expense. And in one example, it's simply this illusion that a lot of people have about, oh, the bank's here to save me money, keep my money safe and give me a little bit of money. Well, they may be paying you 0.01% on your savings, which comes out to what, $1 for every 10 grand you give them? Woohoo. Well, in reality, they turn around and give that to a loan or maybe in the form of a credit card, and they're charging 20-30% interest on that. That's an insane return. I mean, the margins there are crazy.
So yeah, banks are setting it up that it sounds like a mutual relationship or even more beneficial to you. Look, you give us your money, we'll keep it safe, nobody will bother it, and because we're so nice, we'll also give you some money back just for us holding your money safe. You're like, wow, that sounds like a great deal, right? But just like Taylor said, first of all, they're not just storing your money, they're taking your money to give it away and make more on it, and they're giving you money back for it. But again, like you said, it's typically $1 for every $10,000, which is absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
So outside of them loaning your money out and making a lot more than they give you back, how else do they make a lot of their money? It's through fees.
I mean, just last year in 2024, banks made over $7 billion in overdraft and non-sufficient fund fees. I mean, goodness gracious. When you look at that billions, and I think I got maybe 23 cents. So, I mean, the range there is just crazy. And that's not even including the fees that credit unions have been charging. That's an additional several $billion. So you're looking at a $billion business and just a few fees that we mentioned right here.
And so just like Taylor mentioned, overdraft fee is one of the more common fees that people face or that we see. And that is basically, for those that don't know, it's if you charge something and you don't necessarily have the money in the account, or if you have money in like your savings, but not your checking, and you use your checking account, that's probably one of the more common times people get hit. Some banks are nice and they'll automatically transfer from your savings to cover that. Others will charge you that overdraft fee that you overdrew that account, that checking or savings account. And that's, again, one of the more common ones. Another very common one we see, to me, one of the more ridiculous fees is a monthly maintenance fee. And basically that's just saying we're going to charge you $5 or $25 a month just to keep the account open. I'm like, wait, I'm already giving you my money that you said you'll keep safe. Yeah. You're charging me that and giving me pennies back? That's ridiculous. So
yeah, they like to make, well, there's all these admin fees and, the service we're providing. Like we've already talked about at the very beginning, you're making plenty of money off my money. So a lot of banks don't do this, and obviously you can find one that to avoid this, but goodness gracious, $25 a month, insane.
If you're getting charged a monthly maintenance fee just to keep the account open, find another bank.
Yeah.
It's probably not worth it.
Another one I feel like a lot of people probably run into are ATM fees. Anytime you don't use your specific bank's ATM, they charge you anywhere from a $2 to $5. A lot of times I get with a $3 fee. And while that may not be a ton of money, it just frustrates me that I'm paying to get my own money.
Yeah, and you'll hear this common trend throughout this entire video, but another way that I've found to avoid these fees is, one, go within your ATM network, but two, credit unions. They do a great job about partnering with other credit unions, partnering with Publix grocery store, partnering with so many others that you can go not just to their bank, but to many other locations and not have to pay those stupid fees.
Yeah. Some other quick fees we wanted to hit: foreign transaction fees. I've been hit with these several times. It's like a percentage of your charge. Those add up real quick. Other things like wire transfer fees. I know a lot of people don't necessarily come across that, but maybe if you're in the business space or certain transactions, you'll have to come across it. Again, oftentimes it's a flat fee, but $20 here, $20 there. All these things are just building up over time.
So another common one is cashier's checks. You get charged a fee for that. I usually faced it going to an apartment and trying to put down the first month's rent. They want that certified check. And that makes sense, but at the same time, when they charge you for it, it's a little annoying. And then again, another more ridiculous fee is a minimum balance fee. Like, oh, you're going to protect my money, but it's really hard if you don't make a lot of money, don't have a lot of money for us to watch it. So we're going to charge you for that. What? That's stupid.
Talk about kicking you while you're down.
Yeah.
I'm broke and you're going to hit me with a $50 fee? What is happening right now?
Yeah. No, it's ridiculous. I hate banks that do that. I know there's a couple of very big popular banks that do that, and I can't stand it.
All right, another fee that I think is just as ridiculous, if not more, are account closure fees. I mean, that's like being charged to cover as you're leaving the bar. Like, I'm
Yeah.
trying to take my money and go elsewhere. Maybe I don't have any money. I just need to close the account. That way you don't charge me the minimum balance fee or anything. And they're like, oh, no, that'll be an extra $75 charge.
Yeah, that's a good analogy too. I was trying to
Yeah,
think how I would connect those, but that's a great analogy. Like you're already leaving, and oh, for leaving and taking your business with you, we're going to charge you for that. What?
yeah.
That's
And
stupid.
you already charged me a cover at the door
Yeah,
when I walked
exactly,
in. Now,
exactly.
when I'm leaving, like, oh, no, double it.
Bring us our money.
Yeah. And one that you've probably noticed that we haven't mentioned yet are the annual fees, oftentimes associated with credit cards. I mean, they can be ridiculous. Amex just recently bumped up their annual fees. I think the platinum is up to $700-ish. I
That's
can't
wild.
even fathom it. I know that there's so many points. I travel a lot, and I still can't justify. I can't stomach the fact that I'm paying $700 for
No.
a credit card. It's just those things add up, and they can be ridiculous, well surpassing $1,000 a year.
All we've mentioned is mostly about the fees, and that's where, like Taylor said, they make a huge amount of their money from.
Mm,
So you think about just that portion. Now add on huge credit card balances and your interest on those. You're paying these whopping monthly payments to pay off your credit card,
mhm.
and then bring in all those fees. Oh,
Yep.
you missed a payment. That's a fee.
Yep.
Late fees, all these other fees that, again, we haven't mentioned on top of the interest payment. So it can get really, really difficult. That's part of the reason everybody talks about once you get into credit card debt, it's extremely hard to get out. Very easy to get in,
Yeah.
very hard to get out.
Hmm.
So it's what we're trying to avoid with all these fees and being on the lookout and understand that if you can understand, you can try and avoid. And so on that note, how are we going to fight back? How are we going to fight all these fees and interest and all of that? So here are some tips to try and do better and understand and make sure we don't get into that hole. So in terms of the very first thing we mentioned about you giving them money and them giving you pennies back, one way you can make a little bit more on your account is by using a high yield savings account. A lot of times you can easily find those at 3% interest instead of 0.01, and some of them go all the way up to 5-6% interest. So you can make a ton more money. I mean a ton. Another way is to try and avoid traditional credit cards and maybe traditional banks, to be honest, because again, a lot of these that we're talking about, credit unions either charge no fees for those things or very minimal fees.
Yeah.
Again, the ATM fees almost aren't a thing. The startup account almost isn't a thing. The closing account almost isn't a thing. At credit unions, they're just a little bit less fee oriented.
Yeah. They're more local, more friendly. I mean, that's their bread and butter is finding locals. That's who I first started banking with,
Yeah,
was my local credit union. I think you were the
yeah,
same.
absolutely.
So it's a very common thing, and it makes a lot of sense.
And honestly, pay attention to the fine print. I know no one wants to read those crazy documents,
Yeah.
but just look at your APR, make sure you're not getting charged ridiculous percent. But
Mm.
honestly, that interest rate only comes into effect for the credit cards if you don't pay off your balance.
Yeah.
Always make your payments on time so you don't have to worry about, again, late fees. Try to go with credit unions or just look into the bank itself to make sure they don't charge startup fees, closing fees, and all these stupid fees. And honestly, the trend I've noticed, which I really like, is a lot of these credit card companies or banks are starting to promote this card, absolutely no fees whatsoever. For example, the first one that pops in my head is Apple Card. They talk about no fees whatsoever. And I'm like, where's all their money coming from
Yeah.
then?
Yeah.
It's you not paying your credit card balance, but as long as you pay that credit card balance, honestly, you're kind of winning.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you're not paying any fees, you're not getting hit hard, they're not after you. So again, I love that trend that a lot of these companies are pushing towards less and less fees.
So there are several ways that you can avoid these, like we touched on. It's very important to try your best to, because in reality, it would save the average American hundreds of dollars if they were able to completely avoid these fees. So we appreciate you guys tuning in. If there's anything that we missed, like, oh, I get charged this fee all the time, please drop it down in the comments. If you're like, oh, I found this great bank, this great bank card, anything that you kind of think other people would benefit from, we would benefit from. We love hearing from you guys. Please leave it down in the comments below. Of course, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned next week for our next video.
Stop wasting money on that dumb shit and instead put it in investment. I know it's tempting, you'll spend it and be broke again.